Hello everyone, welcome to the Drone Wars. It is episode 17. Alright, well, before we go ahead and go into a summary of the last episode, I'll go ahead and explain what this is about. I did get a comment that was asking what this all is, so I'll go ahead and explain what the Drone Wars is, just a very brief summary. The Drone Wars here is, of course, a bit of a board game where there are 9 quadrants, and of course there are planets just randomly placed around these quadrants. As you can see here, they have these little paths around, and uh, basically we're just putting in these different groups or factions into the board. They all started out with just a single planet, and these factions, they have an income system where basically depending on the types of planets they have and how many, they can actually get increased income bonus. So if we actually look at the different planets here on the board, uh, there's different kinds of planets. There are, of course, the homeworlds, which homeworlds function as a starting planet for each of the factions. It has the ability to produce up to 5 ships in a fleet. It produces 1 million currency per episode, and I guess that's all it does, really. And of course, when these fleets are built, using that income and currency, these fleets are able to move around the board. And of course, when a fleet arrives at a unclaimed or enemy planet, they take over that planet. When a planet is taken over, it is randomly turned into one of several types of planets. It will either become a colony world, a mining world, a shipyard, or a fortress world. Out of those, only colony worlds and mining worlds produce income. If it becomes a shipyard, well, shipyards can make ships, meaning that fleets produced there have to travel less distance in order to get places. And on top of that, fortress worlds allow a kind of passive defense where if a fleet lands there, they have to fight that fortress, which is a little bit difficult to take out and could reduce the sizes of fleets. Shipyards can actually be upgraded to allow fleets to be even larger, up to 15 ships. And yeah, if a fleet goes onto another planet and there's a fleet already there, then that's when a battle happens on that planet. And that's basically what is shown in the, well, in these videos here. It's just those battles that happen as this game is being played. Into the game itself, each faction gets 3 actions within their turn, or 3 actions per episode. Those actions can be either moving a fleet, building a new fleet, or upgrading one of their planets. And upgrades only apply to shipyards and fortress worlds. And of course, these do cost a bit of their income. Now, if you do lose planets, you will lose your income or whatever, so these factions are trying to expand and basically get as much money as they can to build more fleets and take over the entire board. The objective is to take over the entire board. All of the ships you use do have a set price, which, yeah, it's already set up on like a Google Doc or whatever, just so I can keep track. Now, all these factions here, their decisions are made randomly with some rules. When they decide to do their actions, whether they're moving their fleets around, whether they're building new fleets, or whether they're upgrading, they can only make that action if they have enough money and if they have space available. There's only there's a maximum fleet cap for each faction. You're only allowed to have 5 fleets on the board at a time. And of course, fleets can't be, regenerated. Unless it's a carrier, then they could just have more fighters. But basically, if a ship is lost in a battle, it will not be in that fleet anymore, and that keeps going all the way until the fleet is completely eliminated. Then there's an open space where a faction can make a new fleet, which is why you have some of these throwaway battles that happen, where factions are throwing their weakest ships into a battle they're guaranteed to lose. That's mainly just so you have space to make a much more powerful fleet. And you've seen some of those battles happen. If a battle is pretty much obvious that that one of the factions is going to take no losses, the other one's going to be a complete loss, then I'm just not going to show that in the video. This very, very short battle. Yeah, when a fleet is moving around, I do have a simple rule to make sure that the random decisions are not going on forever. The fleets can only move towards an enemy. So when these factions are moving their ships around the board, they're always going to move these fleets towards the nearest enemy. And if there is two enemies at an even distance between each other, they will actually just randomly decide which enemy they're going to go towards. So it's just a very simple rule to help speed up the game and make sure that these factions are actually going into conflicts with each other. And it does end up with some interesting scenarios where sometimes factions, instead of like going one way or another, they can just wrap around or do other interesting things. That's also why sometimes the factions don't make very smart decisions, like ignoring shipyards in some areas and trying to focus on other things. It's just kind of part of the rule set, and also because these are all just like AI doing what AI does. Um, yeah, I don't know if there's all too much to explain. I do have it all on the back here with a bunch of text all over the place. I do keep track of the budgets, the incomes, and the amount of planets each faction has. You can see the two factions are eliminated there. And of course, there's a bunch of stuff over here that kind of explains already what I've gone through. One thing that was a feature, but I have since kind of removed, was the different types of battles. In the earlier episodes, you saw that there were different types of battles going on, but one of the big issues with that was that some of these battle types were very uninteresting, very long and boring, so I kind of phased those out over time, and now we're just going with like standard fleet battles. I might reintroduce some of the more interesting battle types in there, but they take a lot of setup. So for now, it's just basic fleet versus fleet kind of combat. It's more just for the more for like the bigger story over here instead of me sitting there for an hour trying to figure out what color is this building and setting up all the timers and everything for the structures. That takes a very, very long time. I guess that's all that really needs to be explained here. So now we're gonna go over to the summary of what happened, or at least what's going on the board here. The new Galactic Alliance is in a bit of a rough position here, where they're very much strung out in a very thin line here. They did take over the Federation homeworld at some point, which is really great for them, but they are starting to expand a little bit, and they need to figure out ways to really defend their position there if they want to keep it, because the Federation is still a very, very powerful faction. The Federation here has taken a lot of damage from all the other factions eating at them, but they still have some of the most powerful ships on the board right now, or some of the most powerful fleets. So if they really wanted to, they can use those fleets to really do a large amount of damage for some other factions. Let's go over looking at Delta shipyards. They're still kind of in their corner. They've been really struggling to fight against the pirates because the pirates have a very powerful position there. And they've also been struggling with the New Galactic, not the New Galactic, it's the Great Red Sun Empire up above them, which has been really just kind of poking them from time to time. The Pirate Empire over here in the corner, they've been being really strategic with their movements, even though they are random. They've managed to cut the Federation in half here, where they have a chunk here. They've completely surrounded this chunk, which can be an advantage, but also a disadvantage in some ways. But they have almost free reign to really go into Federation territory up here, since it doesn't seem like there's that many fleets protecting this area. They're also going to have a run-in with the new Galactic Alliance up here, since their borders are touching here. And of course, the Great Red Sun Empire over here, they've been trying their best to attack the New Galactic Alliance relentlessly, and they've also just been poking Delta shipyards just to kind of expand and weaken those forces. Unfortunately, the Federation has their eyes on this empire, so they're going to really struggle to try to figure out a way to fight against Federation forces. With that, we're going to actually go in and see what happens with each of these factions. I'll just be going in order of the factions as they are over here, and we're going to see what decisions they make, and if any battles happen, that's when I will start recording and show you guys what battles or whatever happens. Alright, here we are. Already, we have our first battle. The Alliance has made their first move, and, well, the Alliance really doesn't like that the most powerful Federation fleet currently is right at their doorstep over here. So they're pretty much doing everything they can to at least weaken this fleet. I mean, 2 carriers and a battleship is pretty much almost completely unstoppable right now. So they're going to send a fleet of mostly corvettes basically at this fleet, and they're hoping to at least take out the corvette or the battleship or something, so this fleet is at least just a little bit less dangerous. But, yeah, we're going to go over to the Trident Ice Flats, and we're going to see this battle happen here. Alright, here we are on Trident. Over here in the Ice Flats. Right over here we have the Federation fleet. There's a lot of ships here, a lot of fighters. They got their 2 carriers, their battleship, and their corvette. It's a pretty powerful fleet. If we go all over here, we have the Alliance with their fleet. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Alliance's main goal right now is to at least defeat one of the larger ships, possibly even the corvette, at minimum. But we'll see if they succeed here. I'm going to go ahead and enable damage, and then I'm going to go ahead and declare war here so we can see the resulting battle. So right away we can see the ships starting to move in. And that carrier really doesn't care about the other fighters around it, it's just pushing them out of the way. It's a good thing the fighters are decently durable. So almost immediately most of the ships are going up. Some of them are going down while some of them are going up. I mean, I think most of the darts here are going straight forward here. So they are starting to take a lot of damage. They're definitely firing as many torpedoes as they can. I think they're trying to aim at the fighters here, because these are pretty much some of the most dangerous ships they're going to encounter here. These fighters may be small, but they're going to do a lot of damage with their numbers. Corvettes are just really close together, which is not a good thing for them. They do need to split up here. Although that strategy is doing pretty well for giving them at least some protection. Oh, that battleship is actually going right into them here. So they're going to need to do some evasive maneuvers here. See some of the other corvettes passing by here. I believe the battleship is going after the fighters in the back. Or no, it's actually turning around to go after the corvettes. can see these fighters down here. They're already starting to fire away at the other ships, doing as much damage as they can. All the way up here, we can see the corvettes in battle. One of the carriers up here is actually taking out one of these corvettes. That corvette is taking a lot of damage from the other carrier. Yep, these corvettes aren't looking very good down here as they're just crashing into the ground. Some of them are still trying to get back up here. They're just being torn to shreds out here. Over here we can see one of the fighters still trying to fly, I think. At least what's left of a fighter. There really isn't much left. Yep, I think that corvette's going down. Alright, so let's take a look around here. I don't think the Federation has taken any casualties in this battle whatsoever. There's a few fighters in the ground there, but the carriers will just restock them. Still plenty of fighters routed around the place. The carriers are intact, the battleship is intact, and the corvette is also intact, so... yeah, the Federation fleet is still very much active. We'll go back to the board and update it. Alright, we're back at the board, and while the Alliance completely failed to even weaken that fleet at all, the fleet is still very, very strong, and the Federation is either going to use that against the Alliance, or they're going to continue going on this way and just ignoring all that happened. Also, with that, it does leave this shipyard exposed. So I don't know if the Alliance is going to try building a fleet there or something, but one thing that is interesting is that the single Crusader carrier that the Alliance has is going to continue its kill streak, as it just went all the way around here. It's now going to exit Federation territory and go ahead and attack pirate territory right down here. And it's basically just a 1v1, Crusader versus Rapier Frigate, and after that they'll probably fight the Fortress World. So we'll go ahead and see what happens here. I do think it's an interesting strategy that the Alliance is taking on to try taking over the borders of the map, but we'll see how that goes. Alright, here we are. We're on Lithios at the Toxic Lake. And, well, over here we have the single Crusader carrier with their escort of fighters that they're carrying with them. And, of course, over here on the pirate side, we have the Rapier frigate. It'll be a miracle if the frigate can win this, but, yeah, we'll see what happens here. So immediately that frigate's going to go in on the offensive here. I mean, that's all they can do. They're going to need to put on the best defense that they can grab. They need to get within cannon's range if they want to actually do more damage. Okay, those missiles definitely hit. They basically depressurized the ship already. And already the ship is focusing fire on all the fighters that are moving in here. Although it has completely missed. These fighters are basically starting to spread out here. Trying to throw off the aim of those cannons. And they're going to start firing those missiles. Already the carrier is starting to use its missiles to fight the frigate here. And now they're within a really dangerous range of the carrier here. Just trying to ram into the fighters here to get them off there. Fighters are definitely doing everything that they can. This frigate needs to get their front towards the carrier if they want to survive this. That's where all their armor is. Oh, they're losing a lot of thrusters here. I think their main engines have been cut out, so they are falling. All those fighters are definitely doing everything they can. Trying to stay airborne. If he's collided with the ground here, he might be able to get back up. Yep, he's still airborne. Definitely starting to fire at the carrier now. I suppose the fighters have been taken out. Using whatever they can to take out those fighters. Alright, he's down on the ground again, taking more and more hits. He's trying to focus on the carrier up there. Those missiles are doing a lot of damage to him. Now he's getting within the closer range weapons here. Yep. Now it's just raining bullets on this frigate. I don't think the frigate is going to make it past us anymore. Yeah, as far as I can tell, the frigate's pretty much done for. I guess we're gonna move on to the fortress battle that happens after this, because that was a fortress world. Alright, we're here on the lake. And all the way over there, we have, well, the invading Crusader carrier and their fighter escort. In order to successfully take over this planet, the carrier just has to disable all the weapons on that fortress, and they get to have the planet, and they can redesignate it as whatever they want. So we're gonna go ahead and declare war here, and we're gonna see how well the carrier does against that fortress. Now, while the carrier is very powerful, you just have to watch out for that main battery that the fortress has. Yeah, you can see why. So they're already starting to try to fire at these fighters that are moving in here. That carrier is going to try moving forward, and these other fighters should detect a target and start going towards it as well. At least hopefully they will. So already the carrier is moving in here. Those fighters are trying their best. You can see that the other turret over here is trying to target the other fighters off in the distance, while the carrier there is getting close. I think the main gun is now targeting it. Oh, nice. They managed to disable the main gun. And there he is. That carrier might actually collide with the mountain there if it's not careful. It's actually just barely managing to... Nope, it's just gonna scrape the ground there. Lasers to try to disable all these different cannons around the place. There's a lot of a lot of bullets coming out of it there. Ooh, it's actually getting really close to the ground there. That's not good for him. Ooh, that's really not good for him. I mean, the ship might still be able to fly. Just look around to see if all the weapons are disabled. It seems like all of the main weapons are actually gone here. It's just the point defenses that are left, and those point defenses aren't going to be doing that much. If I go ahead and just move the carrier up above and see if it falls, well, if it falls then it's dead. If it's still able to fly, then it's still alive. Is very much still capable of flying. Alright. Well, the Alliance has successfully taken over this planet. We're gonna go ahead and stop the battle here, and I'll go and update the board. Alright, welcome back to the board. So the Alliance basically just has their empire strung around here, all the way down to there. So they're pretty expansive now. Got a pretty decent amount of planets. It's actually interesting how they went from 4 all the way up to like 8 planets, I think. So the last thing they're going to do on their turn, I guess, their last action, is they're going to send their fleet from here all the way down to here. They're going to try to weaken this fleet here to give themselves at least a better running chance of surviving. So yeah, the best thing to do is just to weaken the enemy, so that way when you build more fleets you can have a better chance of surviving. So yeah, that's what they're doing here. They're just going to weaken that fleet. Their chances of winning are very small because it is a carrier they're going after, but you know, if they win, which is very slim, they'll actually put a pretty big dent into the Federation, because the Federation really doesn't have that many planets left. Alright, here we are. So this battle isn't exactly fair, but hopefully the Alliance can at least bring down a few ships. So over here we have just 2 Dart Corvettes, 2 Raptor Corvettes, and 1 Light Fighter. All the way over here we have well, the Duke Carrier escorted by 2 Aero Frigates, an Iron Wing Corvette, and, you know, a lot of fighters. So we're going to go ahead and, well, first of all, we're going to turn on damage. Then we're going to go ahead and declare war, and we're going to see what happens here. Hopefully the Alliance knew what they were doing here. Head-on collision there. Ouch. And these ships are going straight into melee combat here. If we go up above, we can see all the other ships going into combat up here. We can see all these fighters going after the other corvettes here. They're doing a lot of damage to those corvettes. They have to be really careful here. course, we can see the carrier out here is also jumping into the battle, doing as much damage as it can. These corvettes are just being ripped apart. I think this is like all that's left of one of the corvettes here. I'm surprised it's even still flying. Or falling, I guess. I don't think there's any corvettes left over here. Yeah, all that's left is just debris falling down, I think. So, I mean, looking at the defending fleet here, they still have their corvette, their carrier is still active, their frigates are down here, still flying. I mean, all their fighters are good, so that means that the Federation here has a clear victory with pretty much no casualties. And the Alliance lost their entire fleet, so that's unfortunate. Alright, we'll go back to the board and update it, and then we're going to see what the Federation does in response. Alright, welcome back to the board. Alright, so some interesting things have happened here. So the Alliance, they've decided, well, after they failed to basically secure that world, the Federation decided they're going to have a little bit of revenge. And, you know, because they've been attacked so many times by these other factions, they're going to go after critical targets. So, for one, they've decided, since this area is now open, they've just sent their fleet straight in, basically going back in towards where their original homeworld was. Then, over here, the Alliance had their level 2 shipyard over here. Well, the Federation was really annoyed by that, and the fact that their fleet was attacked multiple times, so they've decided to send their fleet up and take over that shipyard. That's a really big strike to the Alliance, considering the Alliance doesn't have that many planets left. And then for the last turn, the Federation decided that they were going to send their fleet here from this fortress world all the way over to one of the Pirate Empire's shipyards, which will cripple their infrastructure at least a little bit. Those are some very nice tactical moves by the Federation, and that definitely puts these two factions here in a lot of trouble. I mean, the Alliance here is pretty much been reduced to string cheese and is slowly being cut to pieces, so they need to figure out a way to expand even more. I mean, the good news is that they are dealing with the pirates a bit more, so, you know, hopefully they can get off the Federation. Now, the Federation going after the pirates here kind of puts the pirates in a really big, it puts them in a lot of trouble. I mean, that planet there is completely isolated now. Their homeworld is in danger there, and, well, they're kind of just being pushed into a corner here because the Federation is pushing them, and then the Alliance is pushing them along this side, and now Delta Shipyards over here is deciding they're going to attack the Pirate Empire yet again. So over here they've decided to send one of their small carrier fleets over here to attack this shipyard. So of course you can see here the Eidolon carrier and a Phantom battleship, and they're going against some frigates here in the alien snowfields. This is going to be an interesting battle. If Delta Shipyard successfully wins this, then that's one less shipyard for the Pirate Empire. Alright, we're here on the alien snowfields, and well, the pirates are in a lot of trouble here. The pirate fleet here consists of just 3 frigates and 2 fighters here, with of course their largest, most defendable frigate being in the center here. All the way over here, well, we have this fleet that that Delta Shipyards is sending at the pirates. We've got their carrier, a battleship, flanked by 2 corvettes, and of course we got the fighters that are coming along with the carrier. We're gonna go ahead and Enable damage, and then we're going to go ahead and start the battle, and we're going to go ahead and see how this battle goes. Pretty much immediately, these a lot of these ships are starting to move into combat here. You can see the frigates are just starting to move a little bit. I think they're mainly doing some point defense. I got some shots going after the fighters here, which are going to try making the first move, hopefully taking down some of the enemies. These corvettes and fighters are definitely rushing in. Well, that fighter is down. We flew straight into a corvette, and he's taking a lot of hits here, firing as many missiles as he can. He's very quickly being torn apart by other ships. The carrier here is just sitting back with the other fighters, mainly doing some more of a support role. In the meantime, the other ships here are moving in, trying to take on these frigates. And these frigates are trying to do as much damage as they can to these corvettes to hopefully weaken the fleet. Hammerhead is definitely sitting back here, also being more of a support role from a distance. These fighters are definitely moving in, doing a lot of damage. You can see over here, they're still trying to fight this fighter over here. This fighter is very quickly being overrun and torn to shreds. And well, these frigates over here are taking a lot of missile damage. Definitely trying to take out that fighter, not fighter, a corvette, which I think is just about down now. So now they're going to focus on other targets. Well, if their main engines aren't out. There are a lot of missiles being fired from that battleship over here. Seems that this frigate down here has collided with the ground, or this is going to. That's going to do a lot of damage to them. But that is a lot of damage. The carrier here is now moving in, trying to do whatever damage it can. It gets close enough and it's just going to tear everything apart. Just like that. Ooh, it seems like the battleship there has collided with the ground. That's not great. That's definitely not good for the battleship there. It is still trying to do whatever damage it can to these remaining ships. Which it seems like these ships are trying to focus on the fighters. Just making sure there's nothing left. Seems like these frigates have now realized the gravity of their situation here. Still a handful of fighters out there firing away at things. No, it seems like this frigate has actually gone out of the hole that he dug himself. Trying to help the other frigates by firing at that carrier. The carrier's just going to focus fire on these frigates down here. Hammerhead really needs to get back up. This frigate is just being hammered by all that. Although it is slowly starting to get out of the hole that he's in here, so he might be able to get back up. He just needs to roll over. It looks like this frigate might actually be able to get up and escape if it can just get himself upright. Alright, that frigate is now gone unstuck from the ground, it's now going up. Seems like the hammerhead is going down a bit. Looking over here, we can see the battleship is still in the ground there. It seems to be somewhat stuck there. The fighters are trying to take care of this other frigate here. Surprising that that frigate can still somewhat fly, despite being only half a ship. Over here we can see these two are trying their best to stay afloat. Don't know if the hammerhead there is stuck or if its AI is damaged. Could be a combination of both of those. Okay, his frigates are not doing that well. That carrier is absolutely tearing through them. And it's just splitting targets at this point. It seems like this frigate is now starting to go down. It's losing a lot of thrusters here. Oh, he's still trying to stay in the air, still trying to do whatever damage he can. Now, a lot of the shots are going into the other frigate here, which I'm pretty sure is not going to be able to fly at all if this continues. It seems like the battleship there is starting to get itself a little bit unstuck, and it actually managed to fire a torpedo, which was sadly shot down before it could reach its target. There's still shots being exchanged over here. Yep, there are still fighters going after him. I think some fighters might actually go off over there as well. Yeah, this frigate barely even has like a few weapons left. Even then, they're currently just being torn apart here. This battleship is still definitely trying. It's still firing torpedoes to the best of its ability. I think that torpedo over there is trying to target what remains of this frigate. Yeah, I don't think this frigate here has any weapons left. And well, this frigate over here doesn't really have any weapons left either. It's definitely still trying, but I don't think it can do much. Well, it looks here that the Delta shipyard says 1. So we're just going to look at the ships that are still alive and remaining. And the carrier is still here. The battleship here, I don't know if it's still able to fly. I'm going to go and just raise it up here and see if it can still fly. Battleship is very much still quite capable. I believe there was a corvette over here. I don't know if it's still alive or not. Based on the signals, I don't think it is. I think that's the remains of it over there. Yeah, so both corvettes are down. There's still fighters out in the air. Alright, I guess that's it for this battle. I'll go to the board and I'll go ahead and update it. Alright, so Delta shipyards have successfully taken over that fortress world and have decided to make it into a colony world, which gives them a little bit more of needed income that they really need to build up their fleets. And then their next decisions, they decide to use their next 2 turns to move 2 fleets they had on standby here, over here, to reinforce this planet. Because I know the Federation is right there, and they really want to do something about the pirates here. So yeah, now they have 3 entire fleets on this planet. Alright, so the next thing, now it's the pirates' turn. So they have 3 actions. Their first action is that, well, they don't like that the Federation is here. And they're going to take over this fortress world first by sending over one of their fleets. So they're going to send one of their newest fleets, just discharge their battleship, 2 frigates, and a handful of fighters to take on this fortress world over on the Pertam rock fields. So we're going to go and see how that goes on Pertam. Alright, here we are. We are on Pertam in the rock fields. Over here we have the fortress. And I believe all the way over here in the distance we have the pirates that are going to attack it. They're bringing their battleship, 2 frigates, and 5 fighters to go and take on this this fortress. So let's just jump straight in, declare war, and we're going to see how this battle goes. Had a bit of a collision here, which is not great. You know, these ships are still active and going. That frigate may have been hit by a torpedo, but it's still alive and going. This battleship is just charging in, firing as many torpedoes as it can. Really big hit. I don't know. Actually, that did hit the battleship, and I think that battleship is going down because that hit might have hit something really important. I think that took out all of his atmospheric thrusters. He's definitely going down. Ouch. So that definitely did a lot of damage. Up here we can see all these fighters are now moving in from above. Pretty soon they're going to start firing their missiles. So that battleship is going to struggle to try to get back up. In the meantime, these frigates are going to be moving in. We got this frigate over here, taking the high ground, and then we have the other frigate over here, which is kind of going after its target, but decided to just sit down. Not sure if that's partially because he was hit by a torpedo, but seems like, yeah, seems like his hydrogen on that side is disabled, so he's not going to be flying much. That's unfortunate. You can see the other frigate is definitely moving in, trying to do whatever damage it can. These fighters are going in, firing all their missiles. That frigate is coming in really fast. I think the frigate's going over a ram. Yep, it definitely is. If that frigate can successfully take out all these turrets, then technically it is a victory. But also, that really depends if these other turrets are firing away and slowly taking them apart. So if they take out all the weapons and ported weapons and actually fight back, then that means it's pretty much just a loss. Seems like the main cannon there was actually destroyed, so... Yeah, the main turret on the base is no longer functional, but all these secondary turrets are doing whatever damage that they can. The frigate is getting up here. So it gives them some better angles to actually fire at these turrets, if they're even still functional. Are there any turrets on this base that are still alive? No, it seems like all the weapons are actually down, which means that the pirates have actually won this, although barely. So that frigate there is still capable of flight, it seems. All the fighters are down. Their battleship went down. They did have one other frigate off in the distance over here. I don't know if that frigate's able to fly or not. It is in fact capable of flight, which means that we have just 2 frigates as the sole survivors of this. Alright, I'm gonna go and update the board. Alright, we're back here at the board, and well, some things have happened. I mean, no more battles have happened, but just looking over at what's happened here. So the Pirate Empire decided that they're just gonna move some stuff around. I mean, what they decided to do is to move their fleet from there over to there, which further isolates the Federation, as now those 2 planets are completely by themselves, and you know, the Federation is only just like this chunk over here. So they're really not in a great spot right now. Pirates are in an interesting spot. They're kind of just expanding over here, and they got their own little place here. It's not great because they're getting pressed down by these other factions. They're attacking them from all sides, but they're doing what they can. And they did take a lot of damage from trying to take that planet, but now that they have it, they can at least try to protect it a bit. Going over here to the Great Red Sun Empire, what they've decided to do, well, they've decided to build 1 more fleet, so now they're at their maximum cap of 5 fleets. And then they just decided to move some fleets around in preparation. They've decided to move a fleet down to there. They've decided to move a fleet down over here, so now they're closer to enemies. I mean, they're kind of in a weird spot since most of their fleets are kind of just there in their home world. They're going to need to move a lot if they want to actually get to an enemy, but overall they're doing fine. It's the Federation is at their doorstep though, so they need to figure out what to do about that. And unfortunately their shipyard is there. So, yeah, if they end up losing this shipyard, then they're going to lose the ability to make fleets of up to 10 ships. Alright, let's just look at the board here to see if there's anything else that's interesting that's going on. There's still 2 planets yet to be explored there. And it seems like a lot of these factions here are still really comfortable in their space. Some of them are being forced to spread out. I mean, the Federation is kind of just pushed towards the middle of the board. Their home area here is being torn apart by multiple different factions here. The new Galactic Alliance are almost completely pushed out of their homeworld. In fact, they only really exist in these quadrants here, I think. And they just have, I think, 1 fleet there protecting their former homeworld. So they're going to need to figure out what to do there. Either they're going to have to expand into Federation territory or go over to the Great Red Sun Empire's territory. Yeah, I guess that's it for this episode. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. I am actually working on a Season 2 for this project behind the scenes, and Season 2 will feature actual players. So I will provide some updates on that as soon as they're ready. And one thing that'll be interesting is to hopefully have some of you guys, if you guys would like to participate in this, join Season 2 of the Drone Wars. Alright, well, that's enough for today, and I hope you guys have a good one. Take care.